Hello, I'm Dyan Reaveley. I'm here at Scrapbook.com, and in this video I'm going to talk about my new small black journal. So the latest addition to my journals is the small creative journal in black. I now have, I think it's 11 journals altogether. It's amazing when you see them. We started off with that one journal. We started off with the large, and it was a totally different concept to any other journal that I'd ever seen on the market, with this separate cover with the book in here. And who would have thought? I think it's maybe 6 years we've had that. Who'd have thought 6 years later we've now got 11 journals. That does include the dialogue in there, but the only other journal that I've got that's black is the square one, and that's great, but it's not particularly great for using when I'm traveling, because with it being square, it opens up quite wide and it takes a lot of space. So for a while I've been saying, can I have one I can use on aeroplanes? Can I have a smaller one that I can drop in my book? And yes, I've got the black in the dialogue, I've got the smaller one, but sometimes I want to do more. I want everything, don't I? That one's too big, that one's too small. This is, I want one for every occasion. So we have the square one, I have this one, and I have the little black dialogue. Again, it's made with the fabulous paper, smooth paper, my mixed media cardstock that's in. It's made in the signatures, so it's a stitched book put together. Okay, I'm just going to take the front of this off. Black journals always have black covers, so you can see them easily, and black elastics. It has the usual pocket at the front here that expands so you can put everything in. And with the black journal, I decided to go for red spine. So it has the red spine there, and then it has the pages in here. Now, some people can't understand a black journal. I love a black journal. I have one here that's just for black and white, and I'll go through this with you later. So this is one that I've been using on my travels. I paint in the dialogues, but I'm going to show you the shimmers as well. So can you see the shimmers in here? I was teaching in Oklahoma this weekend, and I was just quickly demoing the shimmers. I hope you can catch, I hope that highlights. So I was playing with them. So these are ready to doodle now. So I'm going to talk about the black journal and use the shimmers. So I'm just going to put the journal to one side while I bring the shimmers in. Okay. These are my shimmer sprays. I actually have 12 of them, but I can't find the pure sunshine. So there's 11 here, and there's a beautiful gold, which is, I think it's, yeah, this one. Beautiful gold, which is called Pure Sunshine. I have 6 in the warm range. I'm going to go through them. I have Bubblegum Pink, I have Funky Fuchsia, I have Tangerine Dream, I have Postbox Red, I have the Pure Sunshine, which I've mislaid, and I also pop the Crushed Grape in there. And then in the cools, you can do whatever you like really, but this is how I mix them up. In the cools, I have Fresh Lime, Cut Grass, London Blue, Polished Jade, Calypso Teal, and Black Marble. So you might wonder, why are they lying down? Okay, they're not lying down so the overhead camera can see. I suggest you always store these laid flat, always, because if I pick one up, and let me see, like probably with this one, if you look here, the Polished Jade, and I turn it over, can you see how it's a different colour? That is the pearl. The pearl is sitting in the bottle. Now, if this bottle was sat upright, the pearl would be sat in the bottom. And if you picked it up and sprayed it without thinking, you would suck that pearl up the nozzle and you would break it. You would just break it, that's it. There's nothing you can do. So I always suggest the laid down. My class supplies, I have my assistant glue, hot glue, a big lump on the bottom so they can't stand up, they just wobble over. So if somebody picks it up like that without thinking, it will just go down. So I suggest you always have these laid down so that you can easily, one, you can easily mix them together, and 2, they're not going to block the nozzle. Okay, so I have 2 little baskets with them in. I just have them laid down there. These have been stood up for a while because they've been transported, so as I pick them up, I'm going to have to give them a good smoosh. I don't give them a shake. I don't want to shake them, because if I shake them I'll get bubbles, and bubbles again could block the straw. So I just want to sort of give them a gentle smoosh around. Okay, so there are 12 colours. There's more coming, don't you worry about it. So I'm going to use all those. It's the intensity of my ink, because it is my ink, but it's just got that shimmer spray with it. The way I prefer to use them, I like to use maybe 2 inks and 1 shimmer, or 2 shimmers and 1 ink. I very rarely do what I'm going to show you, and that's put the shimmer everywhere. But I just want to show you how we're going to do it, okay? So I'm just going to show you on 2 tags. So I'm going to take these 2 tags here, and I'm just going to lay the colours down. Now, the eagle-eyed of you will notice that there's a purple in the middle there. And I normally tell you, this is Crush Scrape, I normally tell you that you have to be careful with purple, because if it's with the wrong colours, it will go a murky brown. Well, because these are metallic, it actually goes coppery. And it looks beautiful. So it doesn't matter what you put it with, it will look beautiful, okay? So I'm just going to take this. What shall I take? I don't know. I'll just take the pink. I'll give that a little shrews up. These are brand new, so you have to press them a few times to get stuff to come out. So I'm just going to go over the top with the ink, and then let's pick up the purple. When you can see it shiny there, you've got to keep shaking it until all that shine has disappeared. Otherwise, you'll still have the colour, but you just won't have any shimmer there. So I'm going to add the purple. I'm going to overlap the purple. Let's take the blue. So again, I've just got to shake it up. Yours will shake up quicker once you've been using them a while. It's because mine have been stored. So I'm going to put the blue across the bottom, and then let's put the green. So I'm just going, I'm not shaking it, I'm just smooshing it around, and I'm just going to take the green across there. So I have all the colours. I'm going to put another tag on the top. Normally I would have my big roll, but I'm just going to press it down. I'm just going to move it to one side, just wipe this up quickly. I'd normally wipe that up with a tag if I was at home. And then I'm going to peel them apart, and you can see where it's transferred over. Now, if I'm just doing ink, I would take my kitchen roll and I would blot it straight away. But because this is pearl, the pearl at the moment is sitting on the top. And if I blotted it, it would take a lot of the pearl away. So I just let it dry a little bit. If you're impatient, you could use a heat gun. I'm just going to let it dry a bit and just explain. Everybody knows what a snow globe looks like. So you have a snow globe, and in that snow globe you have a clear water, you have a liquid, and then you have the little particles of snow. And the particles of snow are made out of plastic. They're made out of this little plastic. When you shake the snow globe, the particles of snow come up and they go all over. Okay, that's what happens when you mix one of these. You shake it, the pearl mixes up and it goes all over. But what happens when you put that snow globe down? When you stand it on the table, it's swirling, and then all of a sudden the snow comes back down. All the snow comes back down to the bottom and disappears. And this is what happens with this. You smoosh it up, you spray it, and then the snow starts coming down. And that's why you should shake it every single time that you do it. Same with the snow globe, you have to shake it up to see it. So now I'm just going to blot it a little bit. I've let that snow sort of go down, and when you're using the shimmers, they become more shimmery as they dry. I'm not sure how the camera is going to pick this up, but sometimes people go, well, they're not very shimmery. Let them dry, and once you've let them dry, you'll see just how beautiful they are. So I did it on the white, my manila cards, even though I'm talking about the black book, because I wanted you to see the intensity of colour. So I'm going to pop those to one side, and then I'm just going to bring out the black book, and I'm going to do one in the black book. And this time, instead of doing it all over, I think I'm just going to use one of the stencils. I think I'm going to use the roses. Okay, and I'll pop that down there. So in the black book, I'm just going to lay the stencil on the top. And again, I can use different colours. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to use exactly the same colours so you can see the difference, how they look. So I think I started at the top with the pink. So I'm just going to swoosh across the top. Then I went with the purple. And I have to swoosh them, remember, because the snow has dropped. Then I had the blue. And then I ended up with the green on the bottom. Now, you're not going to see the ink. If I sprayed these inks in this book, you wouldn't see anything. but you're going to see the shimmers. And because I chose a different colour shimmer for every single ink, it's going to look different. So I'm going to lift it up, and then I'm just going to turn it over the other side, and I'm just going to press it down. Okay, remember, I don't always blot immediately, but I want that shimmer to stay. I'll take this, I'm just going to lightly blot. I'm going to lift this side, and I'm going to lightly blot, and then I'll leave it to dry. Now, normally what I would do with this, I would spritz it with some water and I would put it off onto another tag, but I don't have any water with me, so I'm just going to see if I can pick some up here. I'm not sure why I didn't ask for any water, but I'm just going to bray it over. There we go, we've got some on there. So anything that's left over, we can just pick up. But normally I would spritz this with water, and then I'll have to clean this properly afterwards. And then I would have it onto other things. So if we go back to here, I think now you can pick up more. Can you see the shimmer more? And here you can see where it's drying. So these are the different colours. This green is different to this green because on here you see more of the ink. On here you see more of the shimmer, more of the pearl. The blue's very, very similar. The pink's very similar. The purple's slightly different. So that's how it works in there. If I just show you in here, this is the turquoise. This is the turquoise with the pure sunshine. And what else have I got in here? This is the black. So this is the black shimmer with cut grass there, the green. That's a clean up. So this was all in the class. I didn't prep this for coming here. This is just the class I was doing. This is the turquoise and the pure sunshine. That was using my scale stencil. So we've got the purple, we've got the pure sunshine, we've got the pink at the top. So, and there again, there's the purple and the pure sunshine. So you can see how strong it is. You see it more in person. And now these were done about 3 days ago. So I could come in here and I could doodle them. I couldn't touch any that I've done in here. 24 hours, otherwise it will eat your pen. But I could leave them as they are, or I could come in. Can you see? And my doodling's always really loose, and I can doodle them to make them stand out later if I want to. Okay. So I always use a white pen. You could use any coloured pen in this book. You could use metallic pens like the gold, the silver. You can use any of my paint pens. All my paint pens would work in this book. I just like black and white. That's what I tend to do. A couple of my paint pens, a couple of the paint is more translucent than others. So if you wrote, for example, with the Tangerine Dream and the purple, you'd have to write twice. You'd have to do it and go over it because they're semi-opaque, so they don't stand out as much. But most of the other ones you can write straight in. But I'm terrible. I love black and white. So those are the shimmers. I used them on my mixed media cardstock as well as in my black book. So I'm just going to move all those to one side, and then I'm going to talk about the pen. If I just scooch them over here and get rid of any mess. I was doing so well today. I didn't have any mess on this table. Now I have. So if I quickly come to this one, you can see this one I use on the plane, and I use it purely with a white pen and with stencils. The cutting out, obviously I don't do that on the plane. The cutting out I do back in my studio. But again, this was a stencil. I drew through the stencil and then I cut it out. And people say to me all the time, you make it look so easy. It is if you do as much as I do. You know, you can't expect to doodle twice and it to look brilliantly. You've got to do it quite a bit, you know, and I do it on the plane. And again, when I'm teaching this, I was teaching in a doodling class as well. And when I'm teaching this, people try to be really precise. That's not doodling. When you've sat on a plane 35,000 feet above sea level with a child kicking your seat behind, with lots of turbulence, then you know how to doodle and you're not bothered about doing it. But it's just practice, and it always looks really complicated, but it's not. So I'm going to start with a stencil. And what will probably happen with this is I'll probably start showing it and then they'll speed me up. So I won't talk, because otherwise I'll be talking like this and you won't like it. So I'm just going to take a stencil and then I'll just let them speed up, okay? So I'm going to use my fishtail stencil to start with, and I'm just going to do one side of the page. So I would place the stencil on, and you could use large or you could use small, but I'm going to place that on there, and then I'm just going to take the pen and I'm just going to follow the stencil round, okay? So I'll see you on the other side. There we go. So you can see that was really, really easy. Stencils are the key when you're learning to do. So normally I'll go through the book, I'll stencil it here, I'll stencil back there, I'll take another stencil, and I usually stencil lots of things. I don't stencil a page then doodle that page normally. That's what I'm going to do now. But normally I'll just prep and I'll just have fun just putting the different stencils on. You know, I'll maybe go to another page and draw through and get the rosebuds and different ones. All of these stencils work really well. This is beautiful, the snowflake. That's quite hard work. It was quite hard work doing that one. But all the others, these are just some that I happen to have. So we have the shutters, we have the teardrops, I have the stars. And some of the stencils now I design specially for doing this. So then you could doodle inside each one. You could do freehand, or you could take your small stencils. If you're frightened of doing things, you've still got all these stencils. So what I would do here is, I'm actually going to take the small tail as well, okay? And all I think to myself is I pick one. So I pick one, I'm going to stencil in there, and then I always do threes. I have a thing for three, so I'm going to go here, 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 somewhere like that. So I'm going to take this stencil, and it's much quicker to do is this, so I'll chat to you while I'm doing it, but I'm just going to fill that stencil in there. So I'm stenciling the scale. Can you see? So I've added it in there. And then I just pick another space. I come over here. I don't think any further than that. I don't think what is the whole thing going to look like. I don't think what am I going to use next. I'll come and do this one down here. And that's as far as I think. One design 3 times. So this time I will take the teardrop stencil, and then I'm going to go into this one here. So again, they'll probably speed this bit up, so I'll just move it. Again, I'm going to go here, and maybe over here. You get the idea. And I would just take another stencil. You don't want to watch me doing it for ages, but you can see I maybe would take the stars. I would place the stars in, say, this one, and this one, and that's how it builds up. And before you know it, you've got something like this. This one was all done freehand, because I think I was somewhere I didn't have stencils with me. I don't always have them around. But this was done freehand, but it was done exactly the same. If you can see, I've got swirls, swirls, swirls. I've got zigzags, zigzags, zigzags. I do exactly the same. And then you see you can go back. So here, where I've got the teardrops, I can, remember, just take the skin off your pen, for the pen, so I can go back in and I can doodle the doodles. This is what I called putting the scaffolding up, but I can go back in here. And this paper is so lovely and smooth, perfect. Absolutely perfect for doodling. People ask me why I use a paint pen. Why would I like to use a paint pen? Well, with a paint pen, if I shut this page and then open it again, nothing transfers over here. I find with gel pens, a lot of it rubs off and it just transfers over, which is, but that would annoy me. That drives me mad. So whenever you do things like this, if I did this with a black pen in a white book, it looks okay. But when you do a white pen in a black book, it makes you look so artistic. It's just so simple to do. So if I just quickly go here and I can explain a few things. This was using the Maureen stencil. So I just placed her on, I drew round her, I put the teardrop stencil down the side, filled it in. And this is using my journal block. So I drew a frame round the edge with the journal block, and then I used the lines for my writing, and then I wrote in there. This, again, I used the journal block to make this frame. I just drew round it, so I made it in the middle. These are from the Make a Splash stencil, silhouette stencil, so I just drew through them. And this is the same stencil I've just been using. Can you see I placed it all over and then I doodled it in. So this looks really complicated, but when you break it down, it's not. It's really easy. Here I shaped the pages. So I took my journal block, I placed it on this page, I drew around the block and cut the page off. Then made this one slightly bigger, this one slightly bigger, etc. And you can see I can guarantee you all of this was done on an aeroplane, different aeroplanes, but most of this was done on aeroplanes. So again, you can see the journal block. I used the journal block here to do my writing. They're all done with a paint pen. Here I used one of the shape stencils and put the silhouette inside. Again, the smaller of Maureen with the words. I wrote a frame. This was freehand actually in there. I'm thinking of doing another stencil like that. The outside here is from the new dialogue stencils. So that one is on the border it. Can you see it's this one here? So I went round the outside with it there, and the inside of this is from Stencil It. So I used this and I just kept moving it up. Here I wrote Breathe freehand, and then I used the flowers from the border stencil. But you see how gorgeous white, and it doesn't take much to do. You can all do it. This was the actual flower pop stencil that I used there and doodled it in. But here I used the shutters stencil, which is this one. So I used the shutters, and then I cut some of them out so you can see through different things coming. Okay, on here I drew a frame, used a different stencil, and then I actually added, do you know what these were? These were what I cut off earlier when I did these shaped pages. These were what I cut off, and I just added them back in. But it's easy. All I need to do to take on a plane is this and a few. Even if I haven't got a few stencils, I just play. I usually tuck look, circle stencil, star stencil. I usually tuck this in the back, and then I usually put a couple of the mini silhouettes in the pocket there, put a pen, and that's it. I've got it. So that's the little portable journal. Here's another one where I cut through the shapes. You just go on. This is the only book where I start at the beginning and work through. You don't often see that. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Get out there, get playing. It's easy when you know how, isn't it? Thank you for watching. If you liked this video and you want to see more from Scrapbook.com, please like, share, subscribe and leave a message. Happiness is life handmade.